I just walk around in Converse all the time.
I love Converse. That's what I teach it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I teach only Converse.
Hey everybody, I'm here with Paige Roux, firearms expert extraordinaire. I've watched a few of your videos and I'm impressed. I like the fact that you give tutorials on Instagram for those who might not know like basic things like how to clear a chamber and that kind of stuff.
That way when they're scrolling, they just are able to see it. They're able to get that education.
I think that's so like that, and on we need more of that like on TikTok too as well. Just kind of like scrolling by and seeing that educational stuff would really, because like one of the things that I have noticed about our society, and I really thought a lot about, if we practiced more education over blind fear, which is exactly what has been pushed through the mainstream media, because I mean, you look back like to like the elder days, the days of yore. Firearms were not a big deal, even up to...
It was a part of schools. There was, like, actual sports.
Yes!
Like, firearm, like, sports. I actually went to, it was called Outdoor Ed when I was in 5th grade. And we shot little 22s, and then we also did archery. That was part of Outdoor Ed.
See,
firearm safety, it was... The curiosity was eliminated because it was just part of our life. But now certain people are making sure that the firearm topic gets coined with fear.
Right.
And that is the new narrative, and that's not the case for us. You can have this as a tool to use so that if you need to protect yourself, awesome, but also it's used for sports, it's used for family outings, it's used for a lot of things.
Right. It's not evil incarnate. It's just a thing that you can use for whatever purpose you deem. And a lot of times, if you are an educated gun owner, which in turn sort of makes you responsible just by virtue.
Yes.
It is a tool for good.
Yes.
And that's the one thing I kind of start to think about. It's like, what would have happened if we never left that gun culture mentality behind? The left likes to say we're a gun culture, and I actually say, you know what? That's kind of true. I mean, we were founded with the ownership of guns in mind, and if we had kept that mentality, how polite would our society be,
So that's actually funny that you say that, because I always say that firearm owners are some of the kindest people. So I actually just came back from the NRA convention in Houston, and that was just a few days ago. And honestly, those people, there were protesters out there, but seriously, those people are so kind, because if you are an educated gun owner, I carry my firearm, I conceal. It's not anyone's business on if I have a gun on me or not. It's my business. That's all I need to know. But you have a certain responsibility. So if I have a firearm on me, you have to think legally that if you want to react to someone, or if you would emotionally react to someone based upon a conversation you're having, whatever it may be, if you have a firearm on you, legally you can turn into an aggressor. They can consider you an aggressor legally, and also depending on what state you're in. But you have to think about that. So you have to always be that bigger person. Road rage is a huge thing as well.
Oh, and Dallas is bad.
Yes. Oh, Arizona's rough. We do not follow speed signs. But that's what's so important. And if you're an educated firearm owner, you're responsible, and you have to be the bigger person in whatever situation. And I think that that's the biggest problem with us, is that we have to be the bigger people. And so when these protesters are coming out, everyone always says, well, 2A advocates or even conservatives, they don't speak up as much. They're not as loud. Well, yeah, because we're trained to be the bigger person.
More calm,
more receptive. Because if I was at NRA, or a group of us were at, because they had, even at NRA, they had protesters, and they had the street blocked off. They were so amazing, the police officers. And they, our side of the NRA, we were calm. We all had guns on us, but we were just like watching, and we were trying to have some conversation, and they didn't want to listen, so we were just, okay, never mind. And they were yelling, spitting, throwing things at us. If we did that with a gun, we could get charged.
Oh, yeah.
So we have to think about those things.
And
it's a fine balance.
The funny part is they wanted you to get to lose it and come after them so they could do that very thing. But that's just it, though. You know better, and they don't.
No.
And so that's really interesting to me, the dynamic here of look at who is the aggressor in this situation, who is not the aggressor. Look who's losing their mind and look who's not losing. Look who's polite, look who's not, And it's the people who are educated and know that they are protected, who know that they don't have to get emotional and they can't really get emotional, which is really interesting. Yeah. But I want to ask you this, kind of going back to the armed society as a polite society idea. We had the Uvalde shooting. Do you feel like it is a good idea at this point in time, not just to, make sure schools are safer with lockdowns, but possibly to arm teachers?
So actually, I've been talking about this a lot today.
I kind of figured you had.
I actually, I just did a breakout session about firearms and the Second Amendment, and I had a teacher stand up, and she was almost in tears because she said, I'm from Texas, I teach at a school that my husband is also a police officer for in that area. My kids go to that school, and she said, she goes, what do I do? Like, I need to arm myself, I need to train, but like, how do I stand up for myself in this situation? And so I said, go to your school board and stand up, because you are not the only person who is thinking it, but you are more courageous to say it.
Right.
And people will follow you. You are not, I promise you're not the only person thinking this. So when arming teachers, I think it should definitely be an option. And I think there are schools that, with any time that you're in a place of work and you are carrying a firearm, you have to qualify. You have to show that you have a certain amount of education, because it is a liability and responsibility. And if you're employed, they should allow you to do so. So I think there was one school that required 40 hours of education, a qualification, and a certain sort of like concealed carry course in that said state. So that is great. And then every year you qualify as a teacher. And I'm sure I think we do that. Not all teachers have to carry. It's a choice level.
Right, because not everyone wants to. Yeah.
Exactly. Just like the mask thing now, it's a choice. Right? So you can choose to carry, but also we have to think about having a defensive mindset and getting rid of this narrative that if you say it, if you see something, say something for sure. But if nothing happens, don't say, "Oh, I did my part." Step up and say, wait. Because that's how that shooting a few weeks ago could have been stopped. It's, wait, why didn't anything happen? No, I keep seeing this. Something is not right. Something is not right. And be okay with standing up for that. If you see someone arming these teachers or just empowering them to look at a student and say, they seem out of place. Right. This was an 18-year-old in elementary school. They seem out of place. So what do I say? What can I do? And train. We do fire drills. Do these drills.
That's what I have been saying too.
I'm not saying mass shootings, but I'm saying like, okay, challenge your teachers. Have almost like we have a retail store, we have a gun store, and we actually have secret shoppers go in so that we can kind of score our employees to make sure our customer service is good.
Right.
Do that for schools.
Yeah.
Say, wow, I just came up with this. This is a great idea. But say, like, have them, I just rolled with it.
Right here. There it is.
But have them go in, have someone that, like, maybe seems a little sketch, and see if anyone, I'm not saying, like, make sure they have a gun on or anything, but just see if your teachers will say something. And that is really good training for the teachers themselves to be like, okay, I'm going to say something about this. And then they're like, hey, really good job.
That is brilliant.
It's a good training.
That's brilliant, actually. Yeah, just it's not necessarily dangerous, but it kind of gets them used to the mindset of, oh my God, there's something here.
The school knows this person is coming in.
Right.
But the teachers do not.
Because there's always like forewarning, like the personality of a person who they know is going to shoot someone is always there beforehand.
Always.
And it's kind of nuts that like even with Parkland, like the answers were there.
I know.
But here's the other thing. After Parkland, you had 1,000+ teachers sign up for training to carry right afterward. So I bet
mainstream media won't cover that.
No, they will not.
Nope.
No, they didn't cover it. We had to cover it. I'm pretty sure that even now, just like you said just a second ago with that teacher standing up with tears in her eyes, they're so lost and they're so desperate.
Yes.
And they're saying, I want to protect myself, my students, all this stuff. The answer's right there, clearly in front of us. It just seems like it's a common sense thing, and I know common sense gets tossed a lot around.
Common sense gun laws. There's common sense gun education.
Yes.
And gun empowerment too. We can use your terms and flip them right back on us too.
Exactly.
No, I absolutely agree. It's just, I think for me, what I see, because I'm in the industry, but I also see the mainstream media aspect, we always say, like, okay, the answers are there, and the answers are happening. We are doing this right now. I just had a packed room of ladies wanting to arm themselves. Like, that is happening. Just because we don't see it on mainstream media does not mean it's not happening.
Exactly.
It's just what they want thrown in your face. So we continue to do this. We continue, right after that Texas shooting, the next day, I trained a woman who flew from LA to train with me for 6 hours because she had never shot before, and she said, I am a single mother and I need to arm because I need to protect my children. So she flew out to Arizona and I trained her. No one's going to cover that.
People want action, and no one's going to cover the fact that people want action.
But I will continue to teach every day regardless on what's happening, and more
good
law-abiding citizens will be armed and educated for firearms.
Can I ask you one more question? Then I'll... why do you think that they would oppose people arming themselves like teachers and also like just locking down schools? Why do you think that they oppose people wanting to protect themselves with the best means possible?
So I think two things. My immediate thought is, one, general people, lack of education and fear of firearms, right? Like, okay,
common theme.
I've never needed it, so why do you need it?
Right,
kind of thing.
Right.
That should not happen. It's okay if you don't need it. It's actually great if you don't need it.
Right.
However, don't take my Second Amendment right away because you feel like you don't need it in your life.
Right.
I think that's a very selfish thing, but also from a administration and government aspect, there are, and I say this multiple times, I read it somewhere and I cannot think of who quoted it, but I am going to quote it. It's not mine.
Okay.
There are two things that the government needs for total control, and it is to control the media and it is to disarm its citizens. They have the media just fine. What are they trying to do now? And they're trying to make it an emotional state of, look at all this protect our kids. They're coming out with Protect Our Kids Act that have nothing to do with the Texas or the other shootings that have happened. So it's not going to stop those, but they have an agenda and they repeat the same 5 points of this agenda regardless on what event happens in media, but they use the emotion in order to convey and push and leverage their agenda. So I think that's those two things.
So it comes back to what we said at the very beginning. It's education versus blind fear. It's all what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Paige Roux, thank you so much for stopping by. Really appreciate it. That was enlightening.